All rise for the Honorable Superior Court Judge Kenneth Metal. Always truthful, always just, always moral. Yep, I definitely believe that you should be able to sue somebody who didn't commit a crime. That's absolutely moral and just. A California judge has ruled that manufacturers and sellers of firearms that end up in the hands of crazy, evil people who use that firearm to hurt or kill people can be sued. That sounds about right for California. And don't worry, I'm sure this isn't gonna fling open the floodgates of injustice or anything.
Hey guys, before I get into today's video, here's a shout out for this video's sponsor. When the shit hits the fan and the power goes out, one of the things you're going to need is an ultra bright flashlight and a power bank to charge your devices. This is the Indoor Outdoor Light Bug Work Light. It's got a solar panel to turn sunlight into storable, usable energy, or you can charge it with a regular wall outlet. The adjustable bracket allows you to hang it, hold it in your hand, or get the perfect light angle on a table. It comes in handy for car repair, fishing, hunting, and camping. And check this out. I fully charged this thing, turned it on, and left it on the counter, and it shined for over 5 hours. Grab a couple of them for family and friends. Your link is in the description.
This is from the National. Synagogue shooting victims can sue gun maker Smith & Wesson. California judge rules. This right here is from CBS News. Judge rules that synagogue shooting victims can sue a manufacturer that did not commit a crime. Think of the ramifications of that. It's okay for this judge, for you or anybody who became victimized by somebody who actually committed a crime, to sue people who didn't commit the crime. The manufacturer, in this case, of an inanimate object. We know what this is all about, guys. Because there ain't no way this judge is going to okay that people from other countries can sue weapons manufacturers like defense contractors. Defense contractor makes a Tomahawk missile. That Tomahawk missile goes into a village and has 53 people as collateral damage. Nobody's going to allow those people who were killed by that Tomahawk missile, well, you know, killed by the people who fired that Tomahawk missile. No judge is going to say, yeah, you sure, come on over here. You can sue them. They've committed a crime. We know what this is about. A California judge decided victims of the 2019 shooting near San Diego that killed 1 worshiper and wounded 3 can sue the manufacturer who did absolutely nothing wrong of the semi-automatic rifle and the gun shop. So not only the people who made the gun, but the people who sold the gun to the guy. The guy goes out and uses a tool that he bought from the gun shop that was made by the manufacturer, and he goes out and he decides to be a garbage person and kill somebody with that tool. And the judge says, hey, the maker of that tool and the person who sold that tool should be able to be sued. That sold it to the teenage gunman, according to the newspaper report. And you know what's interesting about this? If you go to the New York Times, because the New York Times reported on this. Let's see. Do I have that up? No, I don't have that up. But usually you have to pay for a New York Times subscription if you want to look at their website. On this article, you don't have to do it. You can go straight to the New York Times. Why is that? Because the New York Slimes and the Washington compost pile and all the fake stream media and all the bankers and the corporate oligarchs want you to know about this, because they want to set an example and they want to project on other people what can be done, because we want to eliminate this inanimate object. Because if you eliminate that inanimate object, you victimize people. You strengthen the hand of true criminals, not just the criminals in the banking cartel and the big pharma cartel and the the mainstream media cartel and the government. Not just those criminals get empowered, but just the regular street criminals get empowered, because those street criminals will not obey laws. Those street criminals could care less if another gun is made, could care less if another gun is sold at a gun shop. That's not where they get their firearms. So you empower criminals and you victimize people who are basically law abiders. This is another way to do that. Superior Court Judge Kenneth Metal said Wednesday that victims and families in the Poway, California synagogue shooting have adequately alleged that Smith & Wesson, the nation's largest gun maker, knew its AR-15 style rifle could be easily modified into a machine gun-like or an assault weapon in violation of the edicts of politicians, because that's all a law is. Oh, you violated the law. That's not a crime. Violating a law in this case is not a crime. Violating the law back when it was illegal to free slaves is not a crime. Violating the law when you wanted to, at 11:59 midnight, before 1 minute before midnight, before the prohibition laws came into effect, transporting and buying and selling and using alcohol was not a crime, and it wasn't a crime when the clock struck 12 and that law went into effect. We got to get it out of our heads that breaking a law, and I don't see any violation of the law here, but let's say there was. The violation of this kind of law, especially an anti-Second Amendment law, what is supposed to be the supreme law of the land? The Second Amendment. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Well, if the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, then the right to manufacture and sell arms shall not be infringed either. Why? Because it's getting in the way of a man's freedom. Period. You don't need a reason to have an AR-15 or a machine gun or 30 round capacity magazine. All you need to do is say, I'm a free man. That's all. I don't need to give you a reason. I just do it. I have it because I'm free. What do you need one for? None of your business. A 2005 federal law shields gun makers from damages. That's good. That's good. It shouldn't be necessary, but that would be consistent with a good viewing of natural law. Gun makers and people who make tools should not be held liable, or it shouldn't even be possible for a man to sue another man because a man used a tool that another man created. Let's say you created a hammer. It's a unique hammer. Nobody has this kind of hammer. And you sold this hammer at a yard sale. And the guy who bought the hammer at that yard sale went to the local grocery store and knocked 5 people across the head with it. 4 of them died. They're basically saying that you would be held responsible and liable and can be sued because of what that criminal did with the tool that you made and that you sold him. This opens the floodgates for so much evil in this world, it's unconscionable. A 2005 federal law shields gun makers from damages in most cases for crimes committed with their weapons. That's just reasonable. It's common sense, which ain't so common anymore. But it allows lawsuits if the manufacturer was negligent or knowingly violated a state or federal law. That's a stupid loophole. If you knowingly violated a state, the state politicians or the federal politicians' opinions scrawled on pieces of paper, then you can be sued. Medell said the plaintiffs in the synagogue shooting case may also be able to sue on their claims that Smith & Wesson negligently marketed the rifle to youths on social media and video game style ads, the newspaper said. Speaking of marketing, how about this 24-hour a day, 7-day a week propaganda advertising for the big farmer guy and his product that they want inside of every single person on God's green earth? What about, oh, that's right, they're shielded from liability. That's right, I forgot about that. They'll shield those manufacturers from any and all liability. But when it comes to gun manufacturers, open the floodgates. Anybody can sue you if somebody uses the firearm that you made to commit a crime. Amazing. Lawyers for Smith & Wesson didn't immediately respond because how can you respond to such idiocy? How can you respond to a robed tyrant, a psychopath who actually opens the floodgates for major evil precedent in this world? The judge also said the shop, San Diego Guns, could be sued for selling the weapon to John Ernest, who was 19 and lacked a hunting license. That's permission from the government to do something that you have a perfect right to do anyway. You don't need the permission of any man to forage off the land, including hunting and fishing and gathering berries. Do you have your berry gathering license? Do you have your hunting license? Do you have your fishing license? Do you have your driver's license? Do you have the permission from Big Daddy government to do that? Wait, I thought I was an adult. adults don't need permission from other adults to do things that they have a natural right to do anyway. Well, you do in this case, that'll be $25 a year for that hunting license, $35 a year for that fishing license. So wait a second. You're not going to give me the right unless I pay for it. So you're going to sell me back a right that I already had in the first place? It's upside down world, guys. That would have exempted him from California's 21-year minimum age for owning guns. That's another law of politicians backed by the threat of force. And of course, it gets praise from gun control advocates. Wednesday's ruling is a victory for, quote, all Americans who believe that the gun industry is not above the law. Did anybody say anybody was above any kind of law? Oh, who are you trying to get to initiate these gun control laws? That's right, governments who write the laws and then act above their own laws. Has anybody ever heard of 18 USC 242, deprivation of rights under color of law? That's exactly what this is, deprivation of rights under color of law. That's 18 U.S. Code 242. Under such victories, including a Connecticut Supreme Court ruling in March 2019 that gunmaker Remington could be sued over how it marketed the Bushmaster rifle used to kill these people right here and 6 you-know-what-you-know-where in 2012. You know you can't say that because you'll get your videos taken down. The 4-3 decision reinstated a wrongful death lawsuit and overturned a lower court ruling that the lawsuit was prohibited by the 2005 federal law. That's that federal law that says, hey, manufacturers and sellers can't be held liable if somebody uses that tool to commit a crime. The person who committed the crime is responsible for the crime. That's the person who should be sued. When you start punishing people who didn't commit the crime, you have an unjust, immoral society that is and will fall apart. Is falling and will fall apart. The case will go to trial in September 2021. Mass shootings this year in Georgia and Colorado have thrust gun control. That's people control. There's your euphemism for you. The euphemism for today to obscure all truth and bring lies to the surface is gun control. Call it what it is. It's people control. The governments, the people in governments want to control you and I, period. And it's not that they're against guns. They just don't want you and I to have them. They want the military to have them. They want the police to have them. They want the politicians to be protected by them. They have an armed security detail. It's easy for them to write the laws and say that you shouldn't have firearms while they're surrounded by men with firearms. BS. Utter BS. The Supreme Court on April 26 agreed to take up a legal dispute over a New York gun law that could broaden the scope of the Second Amendment, leaving the High Court now with an expanded conservative majority poised to address the politically charged issue of gun rights. It should never be brought up. We have the Second Amendment. We have the natural law that the Second Amendment speaks to. There should never, ever be any kind of gun debate ever again. Anybody who uses a gun to commit the crime is the person who should be put on the spot and held responsible for his unjust actions. Period. You know, and I should start every video off with, if you ever allow the government to take away your rights because of an emergency or a crisis or a mass shooting, they will always create an emergency or a crisis or a mass shooting to take away more of your rights. Guys, we already know that they want to decimate the dollar, destroy the economy, bring us into a cashless society, and eventually make it difficult for us to even get food. That's why I constantly promote My Patriot Supply. Every chance I get, I turn my fiat currency notes into long-term storable food. This stuff is awesome. It's got a 25-year shelf life. And one thing we're all going to need is storable food. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. With my link in the description, you get $100 off of every order instantly. It'd be a good idea to order it while you can, because I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be able to ship this out. My link for your $100 off discount is in the description below.